La, 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 la. Yes, this meeting is being recorded. Assumption is that at some point it became clear that people needed to be aware that things were being recorded. So now you have to know. There you go. So consent is everything. So welcome everybody. Happy Wednesday and happy week of letting go of accomplishment. I feel like this is one of those things that we ultimately need to do kind of over and over again, because we get into these modes of really wanting to progress or really wanting to accomplish or really wanting to achieve. And then we get stuck in that mode. And then even when we want to get out of it, it's like we can't, or we don't know how, or we hit some edge in ourselves where in order to progress, right, there has to be a relaxing of something in order for there to be more movement forward. And what we do in those moments where we're hitting those edges, or where we're finding that we are really attached to, really invested in our accomplishments, our achievements, is that that's really one of those pivotal moments in our practice, right? Is how you deal with those instances, right? Because the more we cling, the harder we get with our, not just our enthusiasm, but with our pushing to try to achieve, is the more we create more obstacles for ourselves, more struggles. So being able to let go of trying to achieve, and instead being really okay with knowing that progress happens as progress happens, right? And that sometimes when it seems like you are standing still, things are not moving forward the way you want them to, is that you're still making progress. You're just not moving things in an outward way. So that understanding of knowing when it's necessary to sort of stop yourself from trying to achieve, trying to stop yourself from trying to keep going, is it gives us a chance to really see how far we've come, right? And just actually be literally where we are. And that this is what then becomes redefined as progress, right? Is that you actually get to let go of trying to be somewhere else, and you start to just be here again. And that's our practice over and over and over again. So that's what I'm working on with myself, is letting go of accomplishment, letting go of achievement, so that we're not in that, overly aggressive, energized mode of trying to just move forward, right? There's other directions, there's other places to be than just forward. So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Let the eyes close. And this letting go of achievement can be on so many levels. It can be letting go of all the things you think you're supposed to get done or you're supposed to do. It can be letting go of the thought process of everything that you're supposed to be. It can be letting go of so many concepts of, there are important things I should be doing with my time instead of what I'm actually doing. So start to drop into not just the space of your mind, feel that for a moment. But then with your breath, start to drop yourself lower. So with every exhale, you feel your awareness settle a little deeper in. And the next exhale, you let it settle a little bit deeper in. And the next exhale, you let it settle a little deeper in. And all you're doing is exhaling, but by bringing your awareness deeper in, it stops going so far out. And ultimately, what we are looking for is for our awareness to be able to just stay. State of equanimity, neither looking to go forward or backwards, not trying to improve. So keep dropping in. And just even the suggestion that you can let go of achieving. Frees the mind to just feel what there is to feel. And that's a powerful place, to just feel what there is to feel. One more full deep breath, exhaling, letting your awareness drop deep in. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, bring your hands to your knees or your thighs and start to cat-cow your spine. Inhaling, lifting the chest nice and high on the inhale, exhaling, curling and rounding into the back body. Good, and then continuing to inhale, rise up, exhale, curl in. Good. Thinking about, my mind works in stories a lot. So the story I keep coming back to is a story about Visvamitra, who's one of the great sages in the yogic stories. And his origin is that he actually starts out as a great king, right? So he's a king, he's a general warrior type, and he transitions into this life of a sage basically as a competition. Like he wants to really be a better sage than Vasishta. So the sage that Vasistasana is named after. He wants to be a better sage than him. And so he sets himself on this aggressive path to achieve. Good. Come back to stillness, please. And then take your arms up wide to cactus arms. Good. So your elbows are in line with your armpits and your hands are up and you're just twisting right and left. So you're inhaling, looking right, exhaling, looking left. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale right, exhale left. Good. And keep going. Good. If you need to close the eyes here to not get dizzy, you can do that. Try to have full breath. So again, you're not forcing the twist in either direction, but you are trying to find that flexibility of your spine. So you want there to be the full inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Good. There's a part in the story of Visvamitra that he answers the call. There's one of the kings who really wants to ascend to heaven. He's not dead yet, but he wants to make sure that he gets to heaven. And he goes to Vasista and says, can you grant this boon for me? And Vasista's like, no, like, I don't have the power to do that. And you're not dead. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you can't go to heaven. So Visvamitra, of course, is like, oh, he can't do it. I'm going to do it. Right. And so he goes to grant this king's request. And remember, the king's not dead yet. So we're not even talking about his spirit going to heaven. We're talking about him physically going to heaven. Come back to stillness, please, nice and slow. Good. Stretch your arms up to the sky, interlace your fingers, press the heels of the hands all the way up, press. Good. And then lean to your right. Good. Side body stretch, moving the rib cage wider to the right. Press down through your left sit bone. Good. Then let that right hand touch down to the floor. Reach the left arm over the ear. Good. Bending the right elbow any amount that you want. So that elbow can drop towards the floor. Drop the shoulder away from your ear. Good. And stretch. Breathe into your side ribs. Nice. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Taking both arms up. Interlace your fingers. Press the heels of the hands up. Good. Lean to your left side body stretch. Again, moving your rib cage wider to the left. That's it. Nice, Laura. Good. And then let the left hand touch down to the floor. Right arm stays over the ear. You can walk that left hand out a little further. Start to bend the elbow so that you're dropping the shoulder away from the ear. So Emily, move your left hand wider to the left. There you go. And then bend the elbow. And now you get more side body length. Nice, Harriet. Nice, Joanne. Good, Allison. And then find your way all the way back up to center, please. Good. Release the hands forward and then come on to hands and knees. Good. Stretch the right arm out wide to the right and slide that arm behind your left wrist. Right shoulder finds the floor. Walk your left arm forward towards straight. Good. Press into both shins. Keep your right low belly and hip pressing just a little bit wide. So Visvamitra starts to use the energy from his spiritual practice, his tapas, you could say, and starts to direct this king physically up towards heaven. And in the yogic stories, of course, heaven is a physical realm, right, that the gods reside in. And so it's an actual place that you could be. And so he tries to send him up to heaven, and the gods who see this happening are like, what the hell? So they start shoving him back down. And so now it's like this tug of war where Visvamitra is like forcing this guy up into heaven, and the gods are forcing him down. They're like, no, you can't come here. What are you doing? One more breath into the back of your heart. This is right when we get caught up in achievement. What kind of crazy things are you doing? And then come all the way back to hands and knees. Good. Switch to the other side. Take your left arm out wide to the left. Slide the arm behind your right wrist, threading the needle. Left shoulder finds the floor. Walk the right arm forward towards straight any amount. Again, keeping weight in both shins, and the left low belly and left hip point lift and widen just a little bit more, so your pelvis is staying level with the floor. Good. And so this tug of war, or this strength of will sort of battle ensues, and Visvamitra is strong enough to keep the king, right, up in the sky, but not strong enough to overcome, right, the will of the gods. And the gods are strong enough to keep him out of heaven, but are not strong enough to defeat Visvamitra's desire for him to stay in the sky. And so the moral of this story, or the end of this story, is that Visvamitra has no choice but to abandon his quest, right? He can't actually achieve what he wanted to achieve, but he got the king up into the sky, and he's like, good enough. That's kind of what you asked for, right? And so that king, they say, is still hanging. He's a constellation now. He's named as a constellation, but he's still hanging upside down, right? Head down towards the earth. Come on back up onto hands and knees. Good. Drop down onto your forearms, please. Yep. Good. You can interlace your fingers if you'd like, or keep your palms flat. Step your feet back to plank pose, upward push-up. Good. So it's a forearm plank. So as you press down into your forearms, you're lifting your chest forward and up, and you're feeling that squeeze of the shoulder blades, of the armpits, really. Shoulder blades are drawing down your back towards your hips. The tops of your thighs are pulling forward and up. Good. Nice. Another couple of breaths. Excellent. Don't lose it. Nice, you guys. Drop the knees to the floor, please. Lower down all the way to your belly. Good. Come into Sphinx pose. So unclasp the hands if they are together. So you're pressing the palms down to the floor, shoulders underneath your, elbows underneath your shoulders. Drag back on the hands, lift your chest forward and up. Good. And then press into the tops of your feet. So again, the legs have a lot of length to them. Beautiful. Then one more breath, dragging back, lifting the chest up, up, up. And then release the forehead down to the floor, please. Good. Stretch your arms, reaching back in the direction of your feet, palms facing down. Good. Come up on your fingertips. So you're lifting the top, your palms and the front of your shoulder joints up away from the floor. So it's like you're rolling the shoulders back and wide. Good. And then keep your fingertips on the floor. Press through the front of your pelvic bones. Lift your legs up off the floor for locust. Good. So just legs first. And then start to feel, as you press down into those fingertips, that your inner armpit's hollow and your low rib cage starts to pull away from the floor. Good. Now lift up head, neck, and chest, keeping your low ribs drawn in. So you're pulling up from the back of your heart. Good. Drop your chin slightly so that you're not looking forward. Your chin is neutral. Press up through the back of your throat, and then float the hands up as well. Good. So a full locust pose, full breath, right? So everything is engaged. Good. Inner thighs, lower rib cage lifting up. Nice. One more breath, full breath. Good. And then slowly release, please. Nice job. Plant the hands back alongside the ribs. Press back to downward facing dog. Good. So the comedy of this story is one that sort of hits home in my mind of what happens when we are stuck in achievement mode, right? Is that we do ridiculous things or achieve ridiculous results just for the sake of trying to say that we achieved. Good. Steady your heels, please. And then take your right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Step that right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Take your right hand inside your right foot or to a block. So if it can't reach the floor, you can use a block underneath that hand. Good. Press the forearm up against your inner shin, and then take your left arm up to the sky, open. Good. So you're pressing wide through that inner knee, or you're pressing wide through the shoulder. Your knee can squeeze in a little bit. So you're just keeping anchored through the big toe mound, and then draw that right butt cheek back and in. So it's going to send the weight of your pelvis slightly towards the tips of your toes, towards the long edge of your mat. Good. Take the left arm over the ear, please, reaching full side angle variation. Good. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Nice job. Spin your back heel up. Drop the back knee. Good. Anjaneyasana. Inhale both arms up to the sky. Again, use a blanket underneath the back knee if you need. Beautiful. Deep breath in. Lift a little taller. Good. And then release the hands back down to the floor, please. Good. Lift that back knee and step back to downward facing dog. Good. Come forward, plank pose, upward push up. Again, that same feeling that you had in forearm plank, like you really have to press into the arms so you can feel the lift of your armpits. The shoulder blades pull down towards your hips, but the tops of your thighs pull forward towards the lower ribs. Good. One more breath, feeling the back of your rib cage, the inner thighs lifting, just like locust pose. Good. Lower down to the floor slow, coming through knees first if you need. Point the toes, stretch your arms reaching back, palms facing down. Good. And again, from the front of your pelvis, draw forward, but lift your inner thighs up. So lift the legs up off the floor for locust. And then pressing into your fingertips, lift the upper arm bones up and away from the floor. Pull your ribs in, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then once you've done that full lift of the whole front of the body, pulling into the back of the body, float the arms up. Good. So this pose is about length and it's about lift. So you're lengthening as much as you can. Good. And then you're drawing in from the front of the body to rise up. Nice. So it's not about how big of a back bend you can create. One more breath. Really nice. And then release, please, planting the hands alongside the ribs. Press back, downward facing dog. Good. And the left leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. And step the foot forward between the hands, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Take both hands inside the front foot and then bring that left upper arm and forearm up against your left shin. Good. Right arm up to the sky, straight up. Good. Again, you can have a block underneath your hand if reaching the floor is not accessible. Nice. You're drawing that left butt cheek down and in. So it's not a full scoop, but you are drawing your hips in line with your ankles as much as possible. So you're widening the front knee. Good. And drawing the pelvis back and in. So the top of that right thigh might actually slide forward just a little bit. Nice, you guys. Right arm comes over the ear, reaching in the direction of side angle. Beautiful. Pressing through the baby toe of the back foot. Keep that left sit bone drawing back and in. Good. Release both hands down to the floor, please. Spin your back heel up. And then drop that right knee. Use a blanket there if you'd like. Inhale both arms to the sky. Anjaneyasana. Good. Drawing your belly back away from the thigh. Yeah. Heart lifts nice and high. Pelvis goes forward, but your hip points tilt up. Nice. Watch your front knee, Laura, that it doesn't fall in. Move it a little wider towards the baby toe. There you go. Good. Release the hands back down to the floor. Really nice, Allison. Lift your back knee, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Slide forward, plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Pointing the toes back behind you. Stretch your arms reaching back. This time, interlace your fingers at your low spine if you can. So take the hands together. And again, if that's not a possibility, just keep your arms wide the way that we have been. So draw those upper arm bones towards each other. Good. Pull your armpits forward towards the top of your mat. And then as you extend back through the legs, press through the front of your pelvic bones, lift your legs up off the floor. Good. And again, from your lower rib cage, draw in and up. Keep your armpits lifted as high as they are. Start to lift from the back of your heart. Lift up head, neck, and chest. And any amount, you can start to straighten the arms here if you'd like. But if keeping the elbows bent gives you more of a sense of staying lifted through your upper back, then keep the elbows bent. Good. And then lengthen through the top of your head so your throat gets longer, dropping the chin slightly. Nice, you guys. One more breath. And then slowly release, please. Good. Plant the hands, press up to hands and knees. Press back child's pose. Knees go wide, big toes together to touch. Hips back to your heels. Good. So even the king who ends up upside down, right? His desire to go beyond the laws of nature, right? I want to be in heaven, but I'm not yet dead. I want to be in heaven, even though maybe I haven't, quote, earned whatever I'm supposed to earn in order to be in that state. I want to fast track it. Walk yourself to the right, please, over your right thigh. Okay, so the desire for achievement often leads us to ridiculous places. Come back to center, walk to your left. So being able to let go of achievement is a fundamental part of a spiritual practice because there's nothing to achieve, right? It's not a linear sense of progress where I do this and then I do that and then I do this and then this happens and then I do that and then I get there and then eventually I graduate and I'm enlightened. Come back to center. It's not like that. Right? There's nothing to achieve because anything that can be achieved has already been achieved. Right? The perfection that you're seeking is already there. You don't do anything to create it. Come back up to hands and knees. And that's what our minds can't quite grasp. You mean if I don't, it's not that if I just work hard enough, then I'll get everything that I want. No, you can work hard every day of your life and still be exactly the same as you are. Downward facing dog. When we're in love with achievement, we get caught in that cycle of there's still more that I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. And then maybe we get upset when we think we haven't done enough. Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Come up on the ball of that left foot. So you're drawing everything all the way in and up. Squeeze the heels or squeeze the ankles towards each other so that you feel this lift from your low belly. Pelvis lifts up even higher. Nice. And then soften that left heel towards the floor any amount more. Nice. And then step the right foot between the hands, please. Lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Warrior two. Take the shoulders over the hips. Good. Nice, you guys. And then take the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers at the low spine. Again, a shrug of the armpits up and then a hug of the upper arms towards each other. Good. Start to lean towards the top of your mat. So your right rib cage is coming forward towards the front thigh. So again, as though you're in side angle. And then start to extend the arms back towards straight any amount towards that back heel. Good. Yep. So you're still twisting the ribs open. That right rib cage tucks under to allow the left one to rise up. Good. And then without using your hands, so keep your hands exactly where they are, start to straighten your right thigh like you're coming into a version of triangle pose. So you're straightening the legs and reaching long through that right side body. You got it. Keep twisting the ribs open. You're right where you should be, Joanne. Just turn your ribs open a little more. Good, you guys. And then release the hands. Right hand touches down to the front leg floor or block. Left arm comes up to the sky. Good. And I know that's a tricky transition when you're doing it purely from your legs with no support with your hands. Good. Stretch the left arm over the ear, please, reaching towards the top of your mat. Squeeze the legs towards each other. Float your right arm up underneath your right ear so everything is reaching forward. Rib cage draws in, navel draws in. From your pelvic bones, lift up. Yup. And then twist open more, heart to the sky. Nice, Harriet. Good. Nice, Laura. Release that right hand back down to the floor, left arm back up to the sky with that same feeling of lift through your rib cage. Good. Bend the right knee, please. Release the hands to the floor. Spin your back heel up and step back to downward facing dog. Nice. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Rise up cobra this time, pointing the toes back behind you, but that same feeling, right, of lifting through the front of your hip points. Nice. Feeling the armpits draw up, but the shoulders go wide. Nice. Good. Feeling your low rib cage pull away from the floor. Beautiful. And then release, please. Downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Good. Slide the left leg up and back. Down dog split. Nice. Come up on the ball of your right foot, please. So you're rising up higher, again, engaging that low belly area. So the rib cage draws in, low belly draws in and up. Squeeze the feet towards each other so you get even more of a feeling of lifting through your low belly, lifting through your sacrum, lifting through your hip points. Good. And then soften that left heel back, right heel back down towards the floor. Good. Step left foot forward between the hands. Drop the back heel, coming into warrior two. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up, shoulders over the hips. Good. And then make sure that your front knee is pointing realistically towards the second or third toe of your front foot. So as you move that knee a little bit wider, your left butt cheek is going to draw in towards the midline of your mat. It's probably going to spin your back hip slightly forward. That's fine. Good. And then take your hands back behind you. Please interlace your fingers at the low spine. Again, lifting the armpits a little higher, drawing the rib cage in, hugging the upper arms. Start to lean your left rib cage towards the top of your mat, again, as though you were doing side angle pose with no arms. And then extend those arms any amount towards straight. So again, you can keep the elbows bent, or you can start to straighten the arms, reaching in the direction at the same angle as that back heel. Good. You got to keep squeezing your feet towards each other. Nice. Rotating the ribs open. Beautiful. And then not using your hands, start to straighten your left leg, moving towards triangle pose with the hands in the same position. So you're still reaching towards that back heel. Good. Still leaning forward over the front thigh. Good. Rib cage open, open, open. Nice. Release the left hand down to the floor, front leg or block. Right arm comes to the sky, Trikonasana. Good. Again, softening your ribs back, softening your shoulders back. Good. And then take the right arm over the ear, please, reaching towards the top of your mat. And then take the left arm up underneath your left ear so both hands are extended, reaching forward. Draw the low rib cage in, rotate the heart, open, open, open. And then again, try and move your rib cage back in space. Good. And you can certainly do a little jig in your mind that you're like, I'm holding this stupid position, hooray. But don't get caught in the achievement. Left hand touches down, right arm to the sky. Good. The achievement is that your breath stays steady. Right? The joy is that you didn't fall apart or forget who you were because the pose went one way or another. Pose itself is incidental, right? Accidental even. Good. Bend that front knee again, please. Release the hands down to the floor. Spin your back heel up. Good. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. Come forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Point the toes back behind you. Rise up, cobra. Lift head, neck, and chest. Again, finding that sensation that your legs are helping the pose here. So the tops of your feet are pressing down and the front of your thighs are actually pulling forward and in towards the front of the pelvis. Good. And then release back to your belly, please. Nice job. Come up on your forearms for Sphinx pose. Yep. And pressing down to the forearms, bend both knees, kick your heels in. Good. So press down through the tops of the knees right above or through the lower part of your thighs. And then again, try and lift that low belly in and up. Draw the tops of your thighs forward and up. Work the tilt of those hip points forward and up. And then draw your rib cage in as you drag back on your hands, lift up head, neck, and chest. Good. So a way of simulating bigger back bends, right? Right here. So feel the stretch in your quads. Good. Nice. One more breath. Heart nice and open and wide. And then release the belly back down to the floor. Release the legs back down to the floor. Good. Stretch the arms out wide, letter T. Nice. So you're rolling onto your right hip here. So keep that right palm flat to the floor. Roll onto the right hip, opening onto that right shoulder. Good. Top foot can either step back behind you for balance or can stay stacked. Good. Left hand can be in front of you with the elbow bent. And again, you're in charge of how intense this stretch is. So don't be too aggressive. Good. Being able to step onto your mat with no agenda. Be able to step out of the need to always have a plan, to have an idea of what's coming next. Oh, once I do this, then I'll do that, then I'll do that, then I'll do that. Or maybe you just won't do any of it. We let go of accomplishment. We let go of that feeling that our time and our energy and even who we are has been promised somewhere else. And if we let go of achievement, then we also let go of failure. There's no such thing. There's only the experience that is happening now, and certain things happen and certain things don't. And it is rarely, if ever, because of you. Not being your fault if things happen one way or another. So we let go of achievement, we let go of failure. Good. Bring yourself back to center, please, back to your belly. And stretch the arms wide again. Then you're going to move on to the other side. So the left arm is straight out alongside your left shoulder. And then you're rolling onto your left hip, left side. Good. And again, top foot, right foot can step back behind you if you need for balance, or step forward in front of you. You can use your right hand in front of you for balance. And just breathing into the armpit, breathing into the length of your arm. If anything is twingy or pinchy, please change your position. It's strange that maybe we think that if we let go of achievement, then what are we left with, right? What are we going to get up for every day? And you can still get up for all of the things that you enjoy, all the things that you care about, all the things that are meaningful. Still participate. You do it without that layer of harshness. It means that when you come up against edges in yourself, is maybe the attitude is not to try and keep pushing forward, but the attitude is maybe, I could stop. I could stop and reorient. I can stop and reevaluate. I can stop and actually feel, what am I trying to do? And why am I trying to do it? And imagine going through life and not feeling driven by life. One more breath. So we let go. And what are we left with? We're left with the perfection that we already are. And our mind says, it can't possibly be true. And yet, slowly unwind, coming back to your belly. Good. Come back into Sphinx pose. So coming with the forearms underneath you. Good. You can either, again, keep the palms flat here or interlace the fingers, making a little cup with your hands. And then press your knees into the floor. Thank you. Press your knees into the floor, pop your butt up just a little bit, and then tuck your toes under and come back to that forearm plank. Good. Also a great variation, if having the knees on the floor and coming into plank pose with your knees on the floor. So a modified plank, that's also available. Good. Yeah, that's great, Allison. Just bring your shoulders forward a tiny bit more. You can even kick your heels in towards your butt. That works. Good, you guys. And then if you are in that full forearm plank, start to walk your feet forward up and towards dolphin. So as your hips go nice and high, you press into the forearms. Good. Drawing the low rib cage in and up. Press into the forearms. Draw the shoulder blades up towards your hips. Take the tops of your thighs and push them back towards your heels. Good. Like that king hanging upside down in heaven. Good. One more breath, please. Nice. And then drop the knees to the floor, please. Come up onto hands and knees. Good. Do some hip circles. So move the pelvis. Move the shoulders. But in yogic terminology, it's generally suggested that when we talk about letting go of things, is that it's never that we lose anything. Move your hips the other way. So whatever you let go of is you haven't lost anything, but what you make more available to you is always so much more. The idea of letting go of achievement means that you become available for so much more of the range of experience that isn't limited to either success or failure. That you're able to progress in ways that have nothing to do with you trying to accomplish something and have everything to do with you simply becoming much more aware. Come back to center, please. Good. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips, come back to downward facing dog. Good. Right leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack, right hip on top of left, open. Good. Deep breath in. Nice. And then point that knee down towards the floor, but keep the thigh lifted. Good. Keep that low belly drawing in. Kick your heel just a little bit higher, and then draw your arm bones up and in. Lift your chest forward for just a breath or two, like that little scorpion variation. So you're drawing your arm bones up and in, and you're lifting your low rib cage forward and up, and you're working with that feeling of there's going to be resistance, there's going to be limitation. And you're working with that moment of not trying to push into a position that doesn't feel like there's availability to go into, but you're just letting yourself go to that edge. Nice. And then relax the head, stretch the leg back to straight, please. Good. Step the right foot between the hands, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Good. Take the arms up to warrior two, please. Nice. For a moment, come up on the ball of your front foot, so lift your front heel. Yep. And as you lift your front heel, you let your thigh go forward a little bit more. Yep. Good. And then let that heel press back down towards the floor and keep it really engaged. Nice. Right forearm comes onto the front thigh, left arm over the ear for side angle. And if you're in a binding kind of mood and you want to go for that bind, you can drop that right shoulder inside your right knee and slide that right arm up and around underneath you. Left palm turns back and reaches around your lower back to find the right arm coming up underneath the thigh. Good. And again, you can use a strap for that, or you can just work with the top arm. Nice. Beautiful. And if you're in that bound position, go ahead, try to come into bound triangle, straightening the right thigh without changing the arms. You got to keep your shoulder low. You got to really work through your hips. That's it. Nice, Emily. Good, Joanne. You got it. Good, Allison. Good, Laura. Beautiful. And then bend the front knee again, please. Release the hands all the way out. Nice job. Release the hands to the floor. Good. Downward facing dog. I know we're going to do the second side and then you can rest. Okay. Left leg up and back behind you. Down dog split. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack left hip on top of right. Good. I realize that none of these poses are particularly not sweat inducing. So sorry about that. Point that knee down towards the floor again, please. So level your pelvis, keep the thigh lifted, heel pressing up, and then draw your arm bones up and in. Start to lift your heart forward and up like you're coming into that back bend, but keep the low rib cage drawing in. Good. So again, you feel that there's that sense of my thigh and my ribs and my shoulders all have to kind of work together. And maybe I feel limited. Pull the top of your right thigh back. Good. The point is to find my edge and not get disturbed, not try and push beyond for no reason. Good. Release the upper back, stretch that left leg back to straight. Good. And then step left foot between the hands. Back heel comes flat, warrior two, shoulders come over the hips, arms wide. Nice. Again, come up on the ball of your front foot so that you have this feeling of lifting. So a little bit more engagement on the thigh and the hip. Let your thigh go forward a little bit more. So again, knee truly over the ankle. You get that stretch on the back leg. Good. And then let your front heel press down to the floor. Again, keeping the thigh a little bit more rooted. Good. And then bring the left forearm onto the front thigh, right arm over the ear for side angle. Making sure that your knee is still pointing towards second or third toe. So it's not falling in. And your hips are in line, somewhat in line with your ankles. Good. And then again, if you're going for the bind here, go ahead. You can drop that left shoulder inside the left knee, turn that arm in the air, turn the palm to face back, reach around to find your outer left hip. And then as you bend that left elbow, you reach up around the thigh. Good. So everything is leaning back here. You're actually moving your rib cage back. You're moving your shoulders back. Nice. Drawing the sit bones down towards the floor so you can lift open through your ribs. Beautiful. And then if you're in that full bind, go ahead and stretch the front leg to straight. So a bound triangle, still drawing your shoulders and your ribs open, back in space, back in space, back in space. And you squeeze your feet together. That's how you stay upright. Good. Beautiful. And then bend the front knee again, please. Release the arms. Nice job. Both hands find the floor. Spin your back heel up. Come back downward facing dog. Good. And then come forward to plank. Lower down slow to your belly. Good. Rise up, cobra. Yeah, from the tops of your thighs, rise up. Nice, Harriet. Good. And then release, please, and flip over onto your back. So come down to your belly first, and then flip over onto your back. Good. Bend your knees, plant your feet, take the arms overhead for a breath or two, holding opposite elbows or wrists. Good. And keep the feet flat and the knees pointing up. So a little version of constructive rest. Softening the lower rib cage. Allowing the thigh bones to feel like they are heavy and drawing into the hip socket. Good. So it continues to be funny about, I think, this story of Visvamitra and all of the, if you don't know the pose that is named after Visvamitra, it's a very complicated variation of side angle, basically. So you've kind of been simulating Visvamitrasana all night. But what I continue to think is funny that further along in the story is, you know, Visvamitra is continuously frustrated by his inability to succeed beyond the sage Vasista. And towards the very end of his experience, he finds out that in order for him to be, you know, really ascend, to graduate, right, to that full level of sagehood, he's told that all he needs to do is to seek the blessing of Vasista. And he's like, shit. Anybody but this guy, like, I don't want to. But he wants to achieve so badly that, of course, he goes to do it. And he finds himself, you know, at the edge of Vasista's, you know, ashram, and he hears him in the hut speaking with his wife, and his wife is asking him, he says, well, you know, Visvamitra is coming and he's going to ask for your blessing. What are you going to do? Are you going to give it to him? And Vasista says, yes, of course I am. Like, he's done amazing things. I think he's incredible. Like, you know, he's magnificent at his practice and this and blah, 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 like nothing but positive, positive, positive. And Visvamitra has this moment where he suddenly realizes that all of his enmity has been self-generated, that he was in competition with no one except his own mind. He was in conflict with no one except his own mind. And in his frustration, they say he starts to bang his head against a rock because he's like, oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. What have I been doing this whole time? And Vasista finds him doing that and says, stop, what the heck are you doing? But in that sort of delirious state, is said that Visvamitra receives or suddenly realizes the Gayatri mantra, right? That's how it comes to him, is in that state of sort of out of his own mind. That he realizes that we can elevate ourselves beyond that feeling of needing achievement. So we let go of achievement, we let go of failure, we let go of trying to get somewhere, and we can actually accept where we are. We stop being enemies with ourselves and with other people because we think it's going to make things different. Instead, we elevate the mind to that highest place. That's the Gayatri mantra. So what he received was not at all what he was trying to do, not in the way he was trying to do it, but what he received when he let go was something much more. So whatever you let go of, remember, you're not losing anything. But you're making yourself available to more than maybe you thought you could be. Release the hands, please. Good. And take your right ankle over your left thigh. Good. Lift your left thigh parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold. Yep. Drawing that thigh in. Good. Finding your low back anchoring down to the floor. So one of the things I love about the yogic stories is that they are often very absurd. Just the most nonsensical things happen and is told in a very matter-of-fact way. I'm like, no, of course this is how it happened. And so we read it and we're like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then we look at our own lives as a mirror and we're like, oh, maybe I should stop doing that. Maybe I should stop trying to make something happen that just isn't happening. Maybe I should stop being in a fight with someone who's never been in a fight with me. I should stop being in imaginary fights in my head. Good. Take one more breath. Good. And then release, please. Slide the right thigh all the way on top of your left. So thigh to thigh, Gomukhasana. Separate the feet, reach for your ankles or your shins. Drawing the knees in towards the belly. Keep the low back anchored to the floor. So we start to recognize the absurdity in our own patterns. Nice, Andy. Good, Kristen. Good. Release the legs, please. And then let's bring the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Right shin parallels the floor. Reach through to hold. And even here, a little bit more weight on that right side of your sacrum because we tend to roll towards the left. There you go. And Laura, widen your right heel just a tiny bit. Yep, there you go. So agreeing with yourself that there are times that you are simply not going to accomplish anything. That sometimes when you hit those moments of resistance, it's not because nothing is moving, but simply because it's not moving the way you expect it to. So stop, stay still. Especially on in an inner sense. And often we feel that resistance in the exact moments when we are about to have a big breakthrough, progress somewhere. But if we try and push it too fast, is then we miss the actual realization. Good. Release that thigh, please. Slide the left thigh all the way on top of the right. So stack the knees, separate your feet, reach for your ankles or your shins, Gomukhasana. The absolute liberating joy of agreeing that I'm not accomplishing anything. I don't have to. And if you're in my mind, you add to that, you can't make me. Take one more breath, feet flex, knees in towards the belly, low back rooted down to the floor. Good. And then release the legs, please, hugging the knees in towards your chest. Good. Roll yourself forward and back. Bring yourself all the way up to sit. Good. Stretch the legs out in front of you. You got it. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Interlace your fingers, press the heels of the hands all the way up. So a nice long spine. So as you reach up through your side ribs, you're also pressing down and back through your sit bones. Good. And then bow forward from the top of your pelvic bones. Try and lean forward. Good. And take that forward fold. Nice, Allison. Good. So it's like you're trying to hook your hands around your feet. So some of you might be able to physically do that, but if not, that's okay. Just keep extending out through the arms. Good. And then release the hands, stay in the forward fold, but release the hands either to the legs or the floor alongside your legs so that you are able to hold on to something. Beautiful. And then take your right hand to your outer left ankle, please. Take your left hand back behind you to either hold at your lower back or can press into the floor, but start to turn your rib cage open, so twisting open to the left. Good. Don't let that right hip slide forward because it wants to. Draw it back and in. Throat moves back. Good. And again, left arm maybe can come up to the sky here if that's comfortable, or you can take it over the ear like it's reaching for the foot as well. Nice, Andy. Good, Emily. Good, nice, Joanne. And then release back to center, please. So that means the forward fold. So find that equal position first. And again, knees can remain just gently bent here if necessary. So you can dig down through those heels and have the knees a little bit bent as long as you are reaching back through your sit bones. And then start to take the twist the other way, please. So left hand to outer right ankle. Good. Right hand comes back to your lower spine. Good. Or again to the floor. Start to twist open to the right. Good. Drawing the shoulders up and long towards the tips of your toes. So you're still keeping your chest lifted, your spine as long as you can. Nice, Harriet. And then again, you can take that right arm up to the sky if it feels available for the shoulder. You can take the arm over the ear, again, if it feels available for the shoulder, or keep the hand where it is. Nice, that works too, Laura. Nice, Allison. Good, heart open, twist. Ribs open, twist, that's it. Good, and then release back to center, please. Again, coming back to the forward fold. Nice. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Good. Bend your right knee, please, and plant the foot into the inside of your left thigh, knee pointing up. So step the foot just a tiny bit wider to the right. So there should be a little bit of space between your left thigh and your right foot. Left hand comes back behind your hip. Right arm comes up to the sky. So reach up. And then you're leaning forward, like you're forward folding again. Bring that right shoulder inside your right knee. So lean forward with your right hand like you're reaching for your left toes. Good. Extend, extend, extend as far forward as you can. Then once you're in the forward fold, you can walk your left hand forward as well if you'd like. Good. And then maybe this is where you're going to stay, right? Just hands to the floor. So Emily, take your hands to the floor. There you go. Maybe this is where you stay, bending the elbows a little bit wide. So you're pressing that right upper arm against the front of your right shin. Chest lifted forward. If you want to go for the bind, you're going to bring that right arm, wrap it around the front of your right shin. Yep. So your palm has to turn backwards. There you go. And then you can try the other arm as well. Reach the left arm around your lower back to try and find that right hand. So you're squeezing around that right knee. Good. You can open the ribs towards the left like a twist, although the suggestion is to try and keep your ribs square. So if you can, keep your ribs square, but if the twist is what allows you to get into the bind and stay there happily, you could certainly twist. Yeah, so it's hard to show if you don't know what I'm talking about. Good. And then slowly release, please, and unwind. Nice. Let the arms go. Beautiful. Let that right knee drop wide, bottom of the right foot to the inside of the left leg. Janu Shirshasana. Inhale the arms up. Little twist to your left, bow over the left thigh. Good. Excellent. Bring yourself all the way back up. Good. Stretch your right leg straight forward. We'll do the bind on the other side. So bend your left knee, plant the foot, knee up towards the ceiling, and then step that foot just a tiny bit wider to the left. So there's a little space between your right thigh and your left foot. Good. Left arm to the sky. Right hand can come to the outside of your right hip or just behind you. Good. So you're leaning forward like you're coming into a forward fold. Bring that left shoulder inside your left knee. So you're coming as far forward as you can. That's step number one, right? It's just a forward fold. So your left upper arm is going to press up against your left shin. So bend that left elbow, place the hand to the floor, almost like you would for a wide-armed cobra. So you can start with that. And then you can walk your right hand slightly forward so that both hands are in that wide-armed cobra. Good. So your elbows would be bent, fingers on the floor, reaching the chest forward. So that's variation 1. You can just stay there. If you're going for the bind, left arm wraps around that front of your left shin. So you have to do that thing where you turn your palm back, turn your thumb down, and reach around the front of that shin. And then the right arm reaches back, maybe to hold hands at your lower spine. Good. Or again, you can use a strap. Absolutely. Nice. Yeah, you've just about got it, Andy. That's good. Nice, Allison. Good. Yeah, and don't get upset if you can't get into the full bind. There's no achievement here. Good. One more breath. Lean forward. It's still a forward fold. The more you lean forward, the easier it actually gets. Good. And then slowly release and unwind the arms, please. Nice job. Bottom of the left foot comes to the inside of the right thigh. Let that knee go wide for Janu Shirshasana. Inhale the arms to the sky. Little twist of your belly to the right, and then bow forward. Good. One of these days we'll get back to Visva Mitrasana, the focus flow on Thursday night. That'll be fun. Until then, let go of achievement. Let go of expectation. Let go of trying to be anywhere except where you are. And as we let go, we realize we lose nothing, but we gain. We gain availability to much more. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Nice job. And then take both legs out in front of you, bend your knees, plant your feet. Take your hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Good. Give a little bend to your elbows so you hug the upper arms, and then pressing into your feet, press into your hands, lift your hips up, reverse table. Good. Nice. And feeling the zipping up of the low belly towards the middle ribs. Beautiful. Don't let the knees splay wide. One more breath. Good. Release the hips back down to the floor, please. Just reach your arms around the front of your knees. Hug. Resting the forehead on the knees if you'd like. Just actually squeeze and let your neck round, let your back round. Beautiful. And then slowly release, come on out. So opportunity to go upside down. Again, headstand would be my immediate suggestion, but if you're not a headstander, you don't have a wall, then shoulder stand is a great option. Handstand also a great option. Any inversion that you'd like. And if that inversion means that you're just putting a block underneath your sacrum, resting in either bridge pose or taking your legs up to the sky with the block underneath you, that's perfect too. You can be laying flat on your back with your legs up if that's what's the most available. Good. Again, I have that sense of the upside down is like being like that king who wants so desperately to get into heaven. He doesn't care how it happens. And so what he arrives at is being in this odd place in between, right? His desire to achieve keeps him trapped. When you're upside down, you're drawing the low rib cage in, zipping up through the low belly, through the inner thighs. Nice, Allison. Good, Andy. Nice, Laura. Laura, see if you can move your feet just a tiny bit to your left. Lean to your right just a little bit. Good. Nice, Joanne. Great, Emily, whatever you're doing. I can't see you. To let go of that desire to try to be somewhere other than we are. or to force things to feel other than they do. Or even just thinking that by our own desires and our own actions is that we can always get what we think we want. And that maybe it's what we want that needs to be reevaluated. Hanging upside down between heaven and earth. One or two more breaths. Nice, Harriet. Good. And as you feel that you are ready, you can let your inversion go, slowly coming down. Good. If you are in headstand, handstand, and you want a moment or two in child's pose or sitting in virasana, take it. If you are in shoulder stand and you want to take a moment, take a fish pose if you'd like, or just resting with your back neutral on the floor. Good. And then slowly find your way onto your backs. Good. Stretching the legs out in front of you. Take the feet to the bottom right-hand corner of your mat. Cross one ankle. Take the shoulders to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. You can reach the arms overhead to hold opposite wrists or elbows. And breathe through the side body. And again, if the arms need to be in a different position, you can let them be wherever they need to be. But let go of the desire for accomplishment, so that whatever you do is for the sole purpose of finding your inner peace, maintaining your inner peace, creating the world that you wish to see, being the self that you wish to be. Even better, just being the self that you are. If we're not chasing achievement, then we can actually just feel what we have. And if we're not chasing achievement, we're also not running from failure. Come back to center, please. Stretching the arms wide, legs wide, big letter X. And start to walk your feet towards the bottom left-hand corner of your mat, crossing one ankle. Take your shoulders to the upper left-hand corner of your mat, holding opposite wrists or elbow. And feel where the breath goes and where it doesn't go. Then encourage or invite it to move into those spaces that feel less accessible. And slowly bring yourself back to that big letter X, arms wide, legs wide. And then if you would like a final spinal twist, you're welcome to take that twist of your choice. So it can be bringing knees together and bringing both knees to one side or the other. It can be one knee in, the other leg straight. It can be thighs wrapped. And then once you have finished your twists, we're actually coming into a supine Baddha Konasana. So if you want to come into that position and place blocks underneath the knees or have something there, so finish your twists. And find your way into a supine Baddha Konasana. Again, don't rush just because I said there is another thing. Good. So then as you're ready, bottoms of the feet together, knees go wide. And again, if you want props underneath your knees, make sure you have them. So you have pillows or blocks or rolled blankets or whatever. Good. And you can rest the hands wherever you'd like, on the belly or on the chest or one or the other. One hand on the belly, the other hand on the chest is nice. Just as you're breathing for a few moments, as you inhale, do that little lift and squeeze from the base of your spine, your pelvic floor, all the way up through your rib cage, Sat. And then exhale, you release it, Nam. And you inhale, you draw everything in and up, Sat. Exhale, Nam. So everything in and up, navel draws in, Sat. Exhale, Nam. So it's like you're massaging your internal organs from the base of your spine. Inhale, Sat, squeeze in and up. Exhale, Nam. Good. Just keep going like that. Sat, Nam. Truth is my name. And it's not a name that I achieve. It's simply what I am. So whatever I do or I don't do, there's no success. There's no failure. It's just becoming completely aware of who I am. Sat, Nam. And again, don't make it aggressive. So the Sat is a drawing in and up. It's a squeeze, but it's not a clench. And the Nam is a gentle release. Again, you're just trying to access those deep internal muscles of the pelvic floor. So it's even below that first layer of abdominal muscles, deeper in. Like you're trying to draw the tops of your hip points, the bony part of the front of your pelvis, like you're trying to draw those points towards each other. That might help you feel those muscles below the belly button. And it's like you're drawing that line from the base of your spine all the way up past the navel, through the navel, up to the low part of the ribs. And then a release. And maybe you feel that line of energy go all the way up past the ribs, all the way up through the heart, through the throat, through the top of the head. Doesn't stop. Because truly it doesn't. Right? So the muscle engagement might no longer be noticeable, but the line of energy doesn't stop. So you can bring that all the way up, Sat, all the way up beyond the crown of the head. And exhale, Nam. And then as you take your last couple of breaths with Sat Nam, you decide if you want to leave your legs in Baddha Konasana for your Shavasana. Or after your next breath, Sat Nam, release the mantra. You can draw the knees back towards each other and start to extend the legs for Shavasana. So if you need to draw the knees in towards the chest first, do that. And set yourself however you would like to be, letting the arms come alongside you, palms facing up. Relaxing the mind, relaxing the body. No attempt to do anything. No achievement. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath, letting the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. I've been joking with myself lately about how funny it is how many times you come out of Shavasana, you hear your teacher's voice at the end of Shavasana, and you're like, damn it, I did it again. I thought my way through another Shavasana. I did it again. Next time, definitely I'm going to be quiet. Next time, definitely that's not going to happen. It's going to happen. This is exactly where we can let go of that feeling of needing to accomplish something and instead recognize that letting go of the thought that you shouldn't be thinking, letting go of the desire for things to be different than they just were, to be different than they are, is what keeps us in that state of anxiety or in that state of being driven. And we can let that go. So we can still accomplish, we can still achieve, but we don't have to be tied to achievement. We don't have to be obsessed with achievement. Because when we let that go, we become available to do things in a way that is so much more free than the way we thought we had to. We get to become someone who's so much more full, whole, complete than who we thought we had to be. And that's why we practice, is to find that. So let go of achievement, let go of success and failure. And you start to just find yourself. And when you succeed at it, let me know. I'll let you know if I get there too. Deep breath in for the sound of Om. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week until I see you again. Heads up for the weekend, I am teaching on the 4th. So 9:30 a.m. I will be teaching in studio and online as usual. But I believe that's the only class for the day. But the rest of the weekend is normal. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye. Good
Good night. Bye.